think these talking points, her attitude is because they don't want to take accountability, because they know networks like CNN are the ones saying all the stuff, the fascists, the dog whistle, the rallying the troops, so to speak, that do stuff like this. So is she saying it because she's getting orders from the top to say this, because she can't admit?
Charlie Kirk's widow isn't just mourning. She's fighting back. And what's coming will shake Hollywood and corporate America to its core. With a legal onslaught that's already racking up as many headlines as billable hours, Kirk's family isn't content to light a few candles or post some thoughtful threads on social media. No, they're aiming at the very heart of the media machine that turned Kirk's final moments into a punchline and, in the eyes of millions, made a martyr into a meme.
The fallout from Charlie Kirk's has spread to the workplace. People are getting fired for comments that seem to celebrate or glorify the assassination of the MAGA activist and father of 2 young children.
Not just the emotional cost, though that's high enough. For the Kirk family, the humiliation didn't end when the camera switched off. We all saw it. The snickering on air, the studio laughter, the forced apologies after the damage had already gone viral. Every lawyer filing these suits knows exactly what's at stake. The public's right to the truth, yes, but also the reputations of companies and individuals who bet their futures on Kirk being fair game. In boardrooms from Manhattan to Burbank, the phrase publicly humiliated isn't just a legal term, it's a torpedo aimed straight at the bottom line.
You have to make this good. I'm one that actually watched some of the stuff that you've done over the years, and it's actually good.
I agree.
For you to defend and lie about what they reacted to, you lost so much credibility with me. So much credibility with me for you to behave that way.
The stakes couldn't be higher. These lawsuits aren't just about clearing Kirk's name. They're about holding the biggest names in the media accountable for their hypocrisy. We watched as pundits, presenters, and corporate spokespeople performed Olympic-level mental gymnastics, spinning Kirk's assassination into jokes, or worse, into excuses for their own bad behavior. Each time they sneered, each time a joke fell flat or a crowd laughed when it should have gasped, it was another brick in the legal case that's now barreling toward them like a runaway freight train. It's almost poetic. The very companies that spent years policing offensive speech and touting their corporate values now stand accused of the same sins, only with much deeper pockets and a global audience watching their every stumble. While the Kirk family's campaign is grabbing every tabloid headline and trending hashtag, there's one name looming over this mess like a storm cloud: Jimmy Kimmel. The late-night host finds himself at the molten core of the scandal, and his bosses at Disney are apparently sweating through their trademarked gloves. Rumor has it, according to 3 sources with deep ties to Burbank, that Disney has quietly funneled millions of dollars into a so-called legal war chest designed to protect Kimmel and, if necessary, themselves. We're not talking chump change or a few late-night drinks with lawyers. This is a full-blown bunker mentality, the kind of contingency planning you'd expect from a company that's terrified its own secrets might spill out alongside Kimmel's defense.
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and doing everything they can to score political points.
Kimmel himself, he's not exactly giving off confident in my future vibes. The latest rumor, coming from a former showrunner who still keeps an eye on the guest list, is that Kimmel's already mapped out a secret exit strategy. His contract's winding down, his show is on indefinite hiatus, and even some of his closest allies inside Disney are hedging their bets. Some claim Kimmel's privately talking about leaving Hollywood for good, packing up his punchlines and heading somewhere he can't be subpoenaed quite so easily. If true, it's a move that says more than any monologue ever could. Even the kings of late night know the ground beneath them is shifting, and one wrong move could send them tumbling into the same professional void as so many fallen icons before them. Still, none of this exists in a vacuum. As the lawsuits start to multiply and the legal drama unfolds, it's becoming obvious that this is more than just a family versus media slugfest. It's a cultural flashpoint.
And then we installed the most beautiful chandelier. Sconces you wouldn't believe. There's something wrong with them. There really is.
But for now, every eye is on those legal documents and every ear is pressed against the wall, waiting for the next leak, the next lawsuit, the next desperate maneuver from a cornered executive or a suddenly humble television personality. The only certainty, this story isn't shrinking. If anything, the storm is only just gathering strength. As Disney scrambles to protect its golden boy Jimmy Kimmel, the cracks in its reputation are becoming impossible to ignore. Here's a company that's built its entire mythology on wholesome values, fairy tale endings, and a carefully polished, family-friendly glow, and yet suddenly it finds itself hip-deep in a swamp of late-night outrage and lawsuits that no amount of animated nostalgia can fix. While the Kirk lawsuits rattle through the courts, Disney's silence is starting to look less like strategic patience and more like the panicked hush of executives trapped in their own hypocrisy. After all, how does a company that drops its theme park flags to half-mast for a slain conservative leader keep defending a man accused of mocking that very tragedy on national television? Internally, we're told there's a level of corporate anxiety not seen since the early streaming wars. Senior staff glued to every news update, desperate legal teams rewriting statements late into the night, and even a few high-level emergency meetings where more than one exec has reportedly asked, "What if this time we really can't just let it blow over?" Panic is leaking out into the open. For the first time in years, the usual iron curtain between Disney's boardroom and the wider world is showing holes. Employees, particularly those not high enough to have their own NDA, are grumbling about the unwritten rule to stay off social media, while public relations specialists are pitching non-stop spin to anyone who listens. If you believe whispers from the media trenches, some of the same execs who happily greenlit edgy late-night segments are now muttering that Kimmel's on-air tone has become a liability. The phrase optics disaster is suddenly the corporate prayer. And it's not just nervousness for Kimmel. The fear is existential. Every new revelation risks painting Disney not as an innocent bystander, but as a quiet co-conspirator, a billion-dollar giant so obsessed with its image that it's willing to look the other way, until the lawsuits start arriving by the dozen. The real heat is coming from the outside. Kirk supporters, already fired up by what they call a coordinated smear campaign against his legacy, have unleashed a tidal wave of viral backlash. Boycotts are trending, hashtags multiplied by the hour, and the counter lawsuits are hitting anyone who ever held a microphone the wrong way during those chaotic first days. If you're keeping score, it's not just Kimmel or ABC in the crosshairs. Whole networks, advertising partners, and even late-night sacred cows are suddenly feeling the chill. The fury isn't limited to Kirk supporters. Even viewers who never bought into his politics are starting to question just how much latitude the media should have when it comes to crossing the line between commentary and cruelty. As one user snapped online, people like Jimmy Kimmel must have their careers completely destroyed. That sentiment is spreading, and so is the collateral damage. Employees at news outlets, sports teams, even airlines are losing jobs or facing disciplinary action for the wrong joke or careless post. When even TMZ has to issue a groveling apology for staff laughter caught on a live stream, you know the outrage economy is operating at full tilt. And don't forget, these lawsuits might be the last stand for political humor as we know it. Industry analysts are quietly floating the possibility that if this legal barrage actually shuts down shows or leaves a few heads rolling, the era of anything goes comedy could be coming to a messy, lawsuit-filled end. Would late-night television really survive if it's forced to play everything straight, neutered of the political bite that defined a generation? Or is this just the natural end to a genre that pushed its luck one controversy too far? Are these lawsuits the beginning of the end for politically charged comedy, we have to ask? If so, what rises in its place? An age of bland jokes, safe scripts, and sanitized applause? Or something even stranger? One thing is certain, when the dust settles, Hollywood may never look the same. So, what do you think, viewers? Will this lawsuit storm finally force real change, or is this just another scandal destined to fade into the next news cycle? Drop your hottest takes below, and don't forget to subscribe if you want the real dirt every time. Until next time, keep your secrets safe, your popcorn ready, and your eyes on the circus.